Good morning, Bengals
What is going
Nation.
on?
We have a special guest that we weren't expecting this
I'm
morning.
not going to try to. I'm not going to try to pick him up again. That was probably the most I'm going to be able to do. We're still on a, negotiation sides as far as this friendship.
Yeah, well, it takes time. You're building a bridge.
Yeah,
So,
hopefully.
yeah. All right, guys, it's officially Browns Day. So what do you say we get this party started?
Let's do it.
We definitely have some of the greatest fans, and it doesn't go unrecognized.
But first I tell them run it out of Tampa through my hands, I'm by my lonely. Turned to a savage, now my baby wants to hold me. I love my fans, don't need no friends, I got my homies. Thought I could trust you, I find out you tried to zone me. I'm number one up on that court, I'm Nick with grit. The first one in, the last one out, can't call me lazy. Put in my hours, send the invoice and they pay me. I need 6 rings like MJ and Tom Brady. I wake up, flex,
Can you guys hear me now? I can't.
There it is.
Hey, there we go.
It's my mom, by the way.
Oh, hi, Mom.
And I lost my mind. I'm like, yeah, baby, let's go, let's go.
I like this. I like it. There we go.
There we go.
Man, things got weird
Y'all gon' make me take that trip way out to Europe. I call up Nigeria, come
I don't
through
want to
in
keep
a
up with
hurry.
everything, but
Those
everybody
London
told me.
boys don't come to play, you shouldn't worry.
Yo, team.
First move, find yourself, they getting buried. Dance with the devil, used to love playing those games. Made some bad decisions that brought my mama pain.
I've heard of a
I made a promise to her, swore that I would change. I'm on the come up, bet I live up to my name.
All right. We got a lot of people in the chat this morning. Good morning,
Oh,
guys.
man.
Early birds.
Everybody's excited this morning. It's like we have a big game or something.
Like, is something going on? Well, everybody, like, let's go ahead and bring our guest in for the day because we're really excited to talk to him and get his insight. So, everybody, say good morning to Coach Kyle Caskey. Hey, Kyle.
Good
Morning,
morning.
Kyle.
Thanks for having me on.
Good
Hey, thanks for
morning.
joining us.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us. So, you ready for a big Browns rematch, Kyle?
Well, I would hope the team's ready for it after what they did last time they played them. So it's hey, I'll tell you the one thing about the Browns game is it's weird. It's like it didn't matter how much better we were than the Browns. Like the Browns, it was kind of like we always had Baltimore's number for a long time. Like
Yeah.
the Browns got the Bengals number for some reason, and I don't know why. It's like I don't think it's a mindset. I think it's more of just it's their Super Bowl kind of deal, and they come ready to play. It's their chance to kind of screw up somebody else's season a little bit, and
Yeah.
obviously they do it quite often for the Bengals for some odd reason because we had really good teams some years and play them and they beat us, and
I know.
we couldn't figure it out.
Yeah. Well, so before we get started talking about that, because I definitely want to dig into that a little bit, because the Bengals have definitely evolved since the last matchup. I
Mhm.
mean, Browns still have our number, but things have changed a little bit since earlier in the season. But before we get going on that, do you want to just like give everybody a little bit of a background on you, like what your experience has been?
Sure. Well, I'm first off, I am married to Kayla Caskey, who, if any of you watch Tigers Talk, that is the bombshell breakdown lady, the one that says, "Hey y'all." So that is my wife. She's a lot smarter than me when it comes to football. I learn everything I know from her. I've coached for 18 seasons, 12 of those in the NFL. Started as a GA, a graduate assistant at Louisiana Monroe on the defensive side of the ball. I went to Indiana State for 3 years. Didn't win a whole lot of games, but I was in Terre Haute, Indiana for 3 years. That's where I met Marvin Lewis because I signed Marcus Lewis, his son, at Indiana State. So that's how I got
Oh.
to know Marvin. So I would go to Bengals practices while I recruited Cincinnati, and that's kind of my beginning there. And then I ended up going to Ole Miss for a year as an intern. had to get out of Indiana State for a little bit, get a little kickstart, and then Marvin hired me in Cincinnati in 2010 as the assistant O-line coach, quality control coach. I was that for 4 years. When Jay Gruden got the job in Washington, Hugh Jackson bumped over to coordinator, and he was a running back coach, and I got bumped to running backs. So I was a running back coach from 14 to 18. So for 5 seasons, I was a running back coach there. So we drafted during my time there. Took over with Gio was already in the room. Rex Burkhead was already in the room. We drafted Jeremy Hill. We drafted Joe Mixon. So we had that whole crew in there. And then we got let go in 18, obviously, with the Bengals. And I ended up going to the Lions in 19. I'm sure there's some Ohio State folk in this chat right now. I apologize, but I went to Michigan for 9 days under Harbaugh. And then got hired I left there after 9 days and went to the Lions for 2 years. So I was there for 19 and 20. And then last 2 years have been a little weird, man. I mean, be honest with you. I didn't get hired in the cycle after the 20 season. So spring of 21, I got hired at LSU as an analyst under Coach O. And that's why I live in Baton Rouge. So that's why we're still here. But we ended up moving here. And then I ended up getting hired by Urban Meyer in Jacksonville after the second preseason game last year. So I was in Jacksonville last year for that whole fun season that we had last year.
I didn't know that, Kyle. I didn't realize that.
I was actually part of that. I was part of the crew that came up there on that Thursday night and almost beat the Bengals in week 4 last year. And then I actually flew home with the team after that game. So, I don't know if y'all know that whole story about.
Yes.
I actually flew. I did. Honestly, we had no idea. I had no idea anything was going on until like Sunday. About Sunday, and probably about 8 in the morning on Sunday, I started getting some texts from some people. But
you didn't know that was going on?
No,
I had a lot of fun at his expense that week. I had a lot of fun.
When I tell y'all, I was oblivious to the world because here's what was happening last fall. Kayla was pregnant with Bowden, our 1-year-old now, and I was living in. She didn't move to Jacksonville with me, so like, Meg, I'm all for that, okay, but you got to talk to Zach for me. So. Anyway, I was coming back and forth between. I had a one bedroom apartment in Jacksonville, and she was like 8 months pregnant when I left. So it was like I didn't want to, I didn't want to move her and get new doctors and all that stuff. And so I had a 1-bedroom apartment next to the stadium down there in Jacksonville, and I drove. Like we landed in Jacksonville. I got in my truck and drove back to Baton Rouge like overnight. Okay. And so probably before most of y'all woke up. After that Thursday night game, I had flown back to Jacksonville, gotten in my truck, and driven back to Baton Rouge, all before most of y'all probably woke up that next morning. But, but anyway, so that, and then after this season, just had I had some opportunities to do some analyst things in college, and I don't know, I just didn't feel like going that route. And then we just I've had a year to, I guess, regroup, and I've gotten to spend a lot of time with my kids and Kayla, and it's been good. Sometimes we work so hard at this job. There was another coach I've worked with that was the coordinator I worked for in Detroit and Jacksonville, and he had a year off, I think in 18, and he's like, man, that's one of the best things that ever happened to me. And a couple other coaches have told me that too. They're like, man, it's just like sometimes you just got to just reset yourself, and I'm ready to go. I mean, trust me, I'm itching to get another job, but the hiring cycle hadn't started yet. The college stuff has, but the NFL stuff doesn't start till, here in about 3 or 4 weeks.
Right.
So that's where I'm at right now. I guess I try to play guitar and play golf. So there's something else about me, I guess.
That's cool. Didn't know that either.
So as far as like this next hiring cycle, is your sight solely set on the NFL, or are you open to college or XFL, USFL?
I'm open. Yeah, I'm open to it. I'm preferring the NFL. I like the pace of the NFL. I like the lifestyle of the fact that in the NFL, when you go home, you get to go home. You don't have to recruit. Not that I can't recruit or won't recruit. It's just there is something. it's like you have your world of coaching and you have your world of recruiting, and they don't necessarily stop. They don't leave each other. As in the NFL, you do your scouting in the spring for the draft and things like that, and then the draft's over, and then it's like boom, you're coaching football, and that's my heart is in developing players and coaching football and that,
Yeah.
and I watch these college guys, and a lot of their time gets taken away from them from the recruiting aspect, which is the most important thing in college football. So I get that.
Right. So tell us a little bit, like, what was it like working for the Bengals?
Well, I'll tell you what, we took a team, and I'll tell you this, I got there about halfway through Marvin's tenure there. So, he took a team when he took over in 03 that obviously wasn't a good team, and turned them into, we were perennial playoff team there for a while. Well, not my first year, not 10, but 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, we made the playoffs. We won the division twice. Obviously we didn't win a playoff game, and trust me, I'm well aware.
We don't have to talk about that.
But excuse me. But I'll say it's a great place. The Brown family, I'm telling you, the whole group is a great family, and I think they've proven in the last couple of years that winning does matter. I think a lot of people said winning doesn't matter to them, and all this does. It matters a lot, and especially to Mr. Brown, Mike Brown, it matters a lot to him. And it was it's a very family style place, like organization, I guess, to work in, because everything everybody has a say in everything. It's not just a couple of guys that are sitting up high making decisions, which, I mean, there are decisions that get made that were way above my head. Trust me, but when it came to the draft, I mean, I wrote up every running back that we had a shot at taking, whether it was a draft guy or a college free agent. And the college free agency kind of came down to the position coach. Like, they trusted us. I worked with PB, Paul Brown, and Mike's son, Paul. I don't know how many of y'all know him, but Katie's brother. But anyway, I'd work with him, and we would go sign running backs after the draft. And we got guys like James Wilder Jr., Terrell Watson. I don't know if you remember him. That was a kid I really thought was going to be good. Ended up playing for the Steelers, I think, for a minute. Anyway, we'd sign guys, like that. And then when it came to like the camaraderie in the group, like within the coaches, we're all right there. I mean, we're all right there on the same floor. We're around each other all the time. I mean, I've been in, a couple other places where you'd never see that, like, as an offensive coach, you only see the defensive coaches in staff meeting or on the field. Like, we'd have guys come and hang out in our offices. And I thought Marvin was really good about, getting us out, not letting us overwork each other. Because trust me, it can happen. I've watched it happen. I've been in a place where people would sleep, like, from Monday through Friday. They would sleep, like, Monday night through Thursday night. They'd sleep in their offices. And I only did that. I only slept in my office if we got home really, really late from a Monday night game or something, and we knew we had to get going the next morning, and that was in Cincinnati. Or if in Detroit, I slept in my office a couple of times because I didn't want to try to drive home in the snowstorm that was happening outside. And up there in that area, we still got that lake effect, kind of where we were, and that stuff's real now. When it starts coming down, it's coming. So, but Marvin was great about getting us out of there. I thought the ownership was great about, they took care of us. I mean, just the little things. I mean, the Christmas party for the kids and the family, and just all the events that happened. Marvin's, football 101 clinic for the women, all that stuff. And I mean, everybody was so open and embraced it. And the stuff they're doing now for y'all now as fans is really cool, because, like, the stadium experience right now, the game day experience has been kicked up a notch. And
for sure.
And they've embraced the super fanness of a lot of people, I guess. I don't know how else to say that, but they've embraced that, and the social media stuff, and putting people in commercials and things like that. I see Bengals captain all over the place. It's crazy how much I see him. And then, but it's a great place. And I mean, I think the players that we brought in and the players that they're bringing in now, they're good people. You know, we had every once in a while you got a guy that's hard to handle, but
Yeah.
nobody was a bad person. You know, you never had that just bad. Everybody wants to say Vontez or whatever. I loved Vontez. I almost got in a fight with him during training camp one year, but tackle Gio after he said ACL.
I want that story, Kyle.
So anyway, I mean, we never had bad people, and that's what I loved about it, you know. And plus, I lived in Mount Lookout, so it was like 12 minutes from the time I sat in my car to the time I sat at my desk, and you know, it was the city of Cincinnati is very underrated, and I'll tell anybody that, you know. I share Rheingeist and Mad Tree beers with people that when I have them here, so
there you go. There you go.
I try to explain it to them, but it's hard to deny. I will say this. I still don't call Skyline and Gold Star chili. That's not chili, okay? That's Skyline and Gold Star. It is what it is. I love it. It's great. It tastes good. I love it, but it's like if you tell somebody down here that's chili, you're gonna get slapped. I'm just telling you.
You know what though? That's a good point. I always tell people, like, if I'm introducing someone to Skyline or Gold Star for the first time, I avoid, like, it's all how you like frame it, right? If you put the expectation that it's chili, then they freak out and they don't like it. But if you don't say that,
just
then
leave the word off. If you just leave the
Yeah.
word off, just say, "Hey, we're going to Skyline. Hey, this is Gold Star. You know, this is Price Hill or whatever." You know, we just say, "Hey, that's what it is." And all of a sudden, they go in there and it's a bunch of cheese on top of spaghetti with some sauce on it. Like, cool. Like,
who's gonna hate that? You know, you brought up a good point, like something that I noticed when I got to do that New Stripes experience when they unveiled the uniforms, and that was really ran by Elizabeth. And when we had a chance to sit and talk with her throughout that event, like, it is very family oriented, the organization. Like, they look at it, or at least from her perspective, she looks at it like this is a family owned business, like a little family owned business. Like, you know,
it is. I mean,
yeah.
Now the thing about the Blackburn sisters, you know, they were still in college and in high school when I was there. So, you know, their input wasn't really there as much. You know, when so they bring that next generation's viewpoint to what's going on there, as opposed to, you know, just, you know, everybody that was in there. I mean, and I think Katie and Troy and Mr. Brown do a great job with what they did, but there was that missing kind of youthful experience to some of the stuff we were doing. Are they still playing Five Finger Death Punch at the games?
No,
they got rid of that.
Me and my brother complained about that for the longest time.
I was like,
here it comes again.
That song had to go, but I'm glad.
Bad Company.
Yeah, was that what it was? I just remember Five Finger Death Punch, and
oh man, that was like the longest running song we played.
You know, it's because there is something to the music that plays there, and it was funny. It was the first time I came as a visitor last year, and you know, the Bengals hadn't figured out yet that they were going to be good. You know, it was still kind of in that early stages of, I think we're going to be okay. You know, I think, and I mean, here we are with the Jacksonville Jaguars come in there and we're just whipping them in the first half. And we got stopped on like 4th and goal right before halftime. If we would have scored on that drive, I mean, it might've been a whole different story, but like,
shoulda, coulda, woulda, Kyle.
I know. But the point being is I remember the second half of that game. I just remember thinking, man, I was like, I don't remember this much of a vibe by the crowd when y'all came back and ended up, you know, because it was almost like it was screwy because that Pittsburgh playoff game in 15, you know, we went down, took the lead, and I was like, I remember being down 2 or whatever it was, or down 1 or up 1 or up 2. I don't remember what it was. I was like, crap, we left too much time. And then we did the same thing to the Bengals. We were up, and I was like, I remember going, we left them too much time. And Burrow checks and does that whole thing to CJ and runs the screen against the cover 0. And I'm like, oh no. And I'm like, I'm going, okay, good for the Bengals, but really for me, like I've got to live this twice now. Like, but anyway,
You
but
know,
I remember when at the end of the game, place was just so electric, and I thought it
right.
was cool for the city.
Yeah. Yeah, and Tyler gets to experience that all the time.
Yeah.
I only got to
Me-
once, but you get to all the time.
Yeah,
it's amazing because like me and my brother, we've been going to games together since 2000. But we've been season ticket holders since 2011, 2012, somewhere in there. So to kind of see the evolution of, not only the fan base, but like the game day atmosphere, you know, he, I unfortunately didn't get to go to that 15 playoff game, but he called me like after the game. He's like, I've never heard that stadium roar like that.
yeah.
And now he's like, I hear it every week at the stadium. So it's phenomenal. This is what we transitioned into now.
Yeah, and I'll this is the last thing I'll say about that 15 stuff was, Andy got hurt in that in the previous Pittsburgh game on like December the 10th or whatever game, day that was. It was early December. Broke his thumb trying to tackle to it after we tried to throw a screen pass, and it
I
literally
still have nightmares about it.
it was like I mean, LSU had a play in the SEC championship game the other day where an interception bounced off of the receiver's helmet and then bounced off a defender and then got intercepted. And I'm like, that's what that thing was to it. I mean, it was just like you couldn't have like tried to do what we did on that play. About if you gave 5 different times, you might get it one more time. But like, if he doesn't get hurt that year, he was playing at the highest level Andy had ever played at that year.
Right.
And I just, we all talk about woulda, coulda, shoulda, man. It's like, I look back and go, man, if Andy just would have just said, screw it, I'm not tackling him, And,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I thought AJ did a great job. McCarron did a great job that year, but it was like, Andy was rolling and we were rolling in that game. We literally ran like the same play like 5 times down the field on that first drive against Pittsburgh. Just went all the way down, like scored. Like I was like, we're going to beat these guys by 50 today. And then just kind of everything, and then I don't know. But anyway, I just feel like if we would have kept Andy, we could have had a shot back then to do what happened last year, But
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. Well, he was in the MVP, at least the MVP talks that season through the first 9 weeks.
Yeah, he should have been because we were 8-0 that year to start the year, and I mean it was just that was a special year, and then it just like, I don't know, and then we lost Hugh after that year. He went to Cleveland, and it just kind of was one of those weird transitions where we didn't transition real well. We lost Witt, we lost Sanu, we lost Marv Jones. And I'm just telling you, we lost Zeitler, I think, maybe the next year. And it was just like, you can't let your offensive lineman like that go, for one. And your top 2 receiver, I say your top 2, AJ was still our top receiver, but 2 of your top receivers walk. And that's when it became just such a like, oh man, here we go.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's go ahead and start talking about the current Bengals then. I think that's a good transition, Kyle. Like, let's talk about the O-line to start. What are you seeing there? Because the obvious is that was our biggest pain point to address this past offseason. The front office and the team goes after some guys, gets us 4 new dudes on the line, and things started out rough, but now, yeah. But now, like, we're seeing something different, and it looks like they're finally coming together. But what are you seeing when you watch the offensive line week to week?
Yeah, I've worked with number one. I've worked with the O-line before, so I know it takes a long time for guys to mesh together. And if you go back and look at the preseason of this year, they didn't play together as a group in a game, and people can say, well, they play together in practice. Well, that's not necessarily going to get you the speed and the type of the pick games that are happening in front of you. Because when defenders are trying to pick you as an offensive lineman, if a defensive lineman is trying to pick an offensive lineman, they're literally trying to like destroy you as an offensive line. They're trying to take you out so that somebody can come free. You don't do that to your own guys in practice. So you get the motion of it and things, but you don't get the intensity of everything. And then,
Right.
I think the biggest thing, and I've said this a million times on a bunch of other platforms, is I worked with Frank Pollock for a year in 2018. He was our line coach that last year under Marvin, and he left and went to the Jets for a couple of years and then came back. Frank Pollock's one of the best line coaches you can have, and I've watched, the crap that he did, or this, I say the stuff he did with the pretty crappy line last year, with the guys he had to work with and made it to the Super Bowl. And you give him some pieces and some time to gel, he's going to get those guys right. And if you watch them now, it's not necessarily the technique. The technique was kind of always there. It's more of, you can feel a cohesiveness when they're trying to pass off stunts, or there's a blitz coming, and the identifications and the communications. You can see the communication a lot better. Because, like, I think when they played Dallas, they slid down and didn't block Micah Parsons off the edge. And I'm like, of all people on that field to block, put all 5 guys on Micah Parsons. Don't leave him unblocked. So there was some kind of communication issue there, which I have not seen. I don't know how many sacks they've given up in the past few games, but the sacks I'm seeing that are being given up are either having to hold the ball a little bit longer because he's letting something develop down the field, or, Joe Burrow was he stepped up in the pocket, then tried to scramble and just got caught, like, for a yard loss or whatever it is. It's not like he's just getting bombarded back there. So,
Right.
And in the run game, I'll tell you this much: the game Mixon had against Carolina, and then the games that Samaje's been having the last few games, you can tell that's bringing some juice to the line, because the line loves running the ball. So I think it's I think they're on the right track, and they got the right guys. I think Cordell Volson's starting to come into his own. He's starting to figure it out. And then the rest of those guys, Lyle Collins has played a whole lot of football in his life,
Yeah.
So has those other guys, Karras and Kappa, the glass eater. Isn't he the glass eater?
They're all glass eaters.
Yeah.
Which one's the redheaded looking guy?
Kappa.
That's Kappa.
Yeah, it's Kappa.
And so and then Jonah Williams, obviously, we all know he's a pretty good player.
Yeah. Meg has a question for you, which is a controversy that's been brewing the last couple weeks anyway, so might as well talk about it. P. Ryan Mixon, what's that split look like in your mind, ideally? You froze. You there, Kyle? Am I froze?
No, you're good. I got you.
Okay.
I was like, oh, as soon as I start talking, it's going to come through for him.
Yeah, probably. He'll come back. Sorry, guys. Meg, I think you broke Kyle with that awful question. That's what I think. There you are.
I didn't want to chat. I was letting y'all know. I'm sorry. I don't know what just happened. So
it's all good. It's
all good.
Hey, so hold on. I think what was the question about 50-50 with Samaje and Joe?
What's that ideal mix look like in your mind?
Oh, I would say you're Joe's still your guy. You can't just say, because everybody's going to look at Samaje and say, man, he had a great run, and he has. Kids should probably be starting for half the teams in the league right now. Mm-hmm. But, I think what the biggest thing you've got to figure out is this, and this is what I feel like I should have done a better job of but the problem when we had Joe, Jeremy, and Gio on the same team, that's hard, man. Because everybody can give Jeremy Hill a hard time. Jeremy Hill had a bad play, but Jeremy Hill did a lot of good things for the Bengals. He's good. But when you have multiple guys, and I think they do right now, you got Joe, Samaje, Travion Williams, and Evans. That's a good group, and you got to figure out how to keep them fresh. So, you got to talk to Joe Mixon and say, hey, listen, man, you're still going to get your carries and everything, but you got to let, that's a lot of truth right there. You got to let yourself listen. Let's keep you fresh. Your legs are fresh now. You've had 3 weeks off, however long it's been. You've got fresh legs. Let's keep your legs and his legs fresh, and let's do 50-50 is hard to say, but just get a flow going. Just say, hey, all right, Joe, you you were in on a 10-play drive this last drive. All right, we're gonna let Samaje go a few plays on this next one, and then bring Joe back in and let his fresh legs go again, and then find a way to not get stuck in the Joe's your first and second down, Samaje's your third down, because that's what I got stuck in with Gio a lot, and you know, some of it was my fault, some of it was kind of from higher up on me than saying, hey, I want Gio in on these plays and stuff like that, but I'd say whatever you can do to keep them fresh, because that's the big running backs. Running backs get worn down more than you think, because they think about the hits. They're like the linemen are taking banging hits every play. Okay, I get it. But think about the shots that running backs take. They take guys running full speed at them. Receivers don't take those shots all the time. They take one or two big ones here and there, but running backs, every time they run the ball, are getting blasted. And if you can keep those guys fresh, that'd be the biggest thing. And again, you can't just go back to Joe's your first, second down, Samaje's your third down. You got to keep it rolling, keep that freshness in there.
Yeah. And isn't it a little bit situational too? Because they're so different.
Yeah, and that's what I meant by like we always had Gio in on third downs because of his protection. Even though he's small, he was a good protector. And I think that's where they are with Samaje. They're like, Samaje can protect. And we know we're passing on third down, so put Samaje in because we know he can protect. We trust him to do everything that's there. Joe's your runner on first and second down. You don't want to get too much into, like say if Evans is in the game, it's only a pass or something like that. Or Samaje's in the game, it's a pass because he's protecting. You want to keep that tendency down as much as you can.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, I don't know if it was Tyler that brought this up recently or what, but at that point, at least now he's got so many live game reps, Samaje, shown what he can do. So now you don't have to be so predictable with how you play him. Yep. You can just put him out there, and teams, opposing defenses don't know 100% what you're really going to do.
Yeah, and that goes to your 2-minute drill too. Like everybody's like, well, why wasn't Joe in on 2-minute? Well, the thing about that is most of the time you're passing the ball, you're not throwing to Joe. Most running back routes are in the middle of the field. So think about that. So anytime people go, well, it's 2-minute, put Joe on, he can catch the ball. What do you do? Are you wanting him to run the 15-yard comeback routes to the sideline? No, you want your receivers doing that, and to throw the ball, most checkdowns occur, in between the numbers, and you're probably going to stay in bounds at that point, not necessarily all the time, but that's the reason why sometimes, you put your protecting back in there, or you put your back who, has dealt with the speed of things more. And a lot of times, Gio had been through so many 2-minute drills, Evans and Samaje had been through so many 2-minute drills that you just trust their comfort level with it, I guess. Not that Joe can't do it. Joe could do anything you want him to do out there. And I believe that. So, yeah.
Have you been impressed with Volson like we have been?
Lately, yes. First play of the season, no. He had a little welcome to the NFL moment by Hayward.
Yeah.
No, I think he's really grown. I think having those older guys around him, I think that's been the biggest thing. Is like if you had another first-year guy, or second-year guy, or a rookie playing next to him, and you're trying to figure out all that, like no. But you've got you've sandwiched him between two veterans, and a lot of times that's a good thing because they can tell him his calls for a little while and get it going. And you can tell now, that's what I'm saying, the communication of it all has become better because you don't necessarily see him looking so like fish out of water right now. So he's come a long way in 12 games, so he'll continue to get better. And a guy like that, because he's North Dakota State, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Yeah. I can just tell you this much: linemen that come from North Dakota State are usually your tough-minded. I mean, they're when I say we all know they're tough. I'm talking about tough-minded. They're the kind of guys you want playing offensive line for you because they're gonna, they're gonna bring a different aspect of that toughness to the team. And once he gets in, when he becomes a veteran next year and the year after, I mean, I think they got a good one.
Yeah. Isn't that rare for I look at the offensive line as being the toughest to transition position group wise from college to the NFL. Like the learning curve is so steep that you have to be so smart, and the speed of the game, and then the like just quality of talent that's across the line for me was just insane. And so isn't it kind of rare for a rookie to ramp up that quickly? Like, I would think it takes like a year or two.
Yeah, but like I said, I think the fact that he's got so many veterans around him
Mhm.
has helped him out a ton. You know, that's where when Jonah Williams came in, I mean, if you look at all the guys that played next to Jonah Williams over time, you know, there's not a guy in there that was just going to keep him straight and teach him. And, you know, with Volson playing guard and having a veteran tackle and a veteran center on each side of him, you know, he's sandwiched in there. So the difference between that is you got a guy on each side of you now too, that if you get confused or something, there's literally a guy on each side of you to help you out. Whereas when you're playing tackle, you're either by yourself or you've got a guard in there. And if that guard doesn't necessarily feel comfortable to tell you what to do, then there's a lot to that. And I think Frank Pollock has meshed these guys well. They put them in good spots because you, like you said, you had 5 guys, and you know, you could have put all 5 of those in different spots in all reality, I think. And you know, you could have flipped them around. You could have had, you know, Volson at right guard and whatever, you know, it's just like, but the way, you know, I believe he's left guard, right? He was when he got beat by.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
You could flip them, you know, and you could flip the tackles if you wanted to, but they found a good spot for where they're at. And I would say this, I think the hardest transition of any player is quarterback from college to the NFL, but that's, I mean, for obvious reasons.
Right.
And the whole thing that happened with Baker Mayfield this past week, the crazy thing about that is everybody's like, man, he was in the building for 48 hours and all that. Knowing the playbook isn't that hard because plays are plays. You just got to kind of figure out, you know, okay, like the last play of the game that they threw, all that was 4 verticals. That was all. Hey, all 4 of you guys just run deep, you know.
Mhm.
And I think I was more impressed with the fact that he had the timing down with all those receivers and the protections down with the offensive line. That to me would have been the hardest thing, because it's not that he had to come in and learn playbook. He also had to figure out, you know, Las Vegas's defense too. Now, I don't know if he'd already played them this year. Now, he might have already played them at Carolina. I don't know, but I thought that was the most impressive thing, is that he figured that out, as opposed to that's the biggest thing from college. And then on defense, I mean, if you're playing middle linebacker, that's tough because you're usually running the defense, you know.
Yeah. Well, what do you say? Let's go ahead and like make this official and predict this game. Bengals versus Cleveland freaking Browns. I did put freaking in the. Did you notice? But so we talked, like hinted about this earlier, that the Bengals look different than they did the first time that we matched up against the Browns this season. Browns look different technically because Deshaun is in at quarterback. He wasn't before, but what do you think you see when you compare the Bengals the first time we played the Browns versus the Bengals that you see right now?
I think the biggest thing is Joe Burrow has learned how to use his entire team instead of just depending on a couple guys. So if you look around at these games where he was out Jamar, he's been out Joe Mixon, you know, he's gone around and you see him progressing through all of his reads. Not that he necessarily wasn't before, but I think there were times when you know, it's kind of like, you know, hey, F it, you know, I mean, Jamar's down there somewhere and just, you know, but it's like, you know, he had to kind of go, he's going through his reads. He's using guys. There's guys on this team that are making plays right now that are, you know, who's Trenton Irwin? You know what I mean? Like if y'all would have said, hey, Trenton Irwin's going to have a game winning catch at some point here, y'all have been like, who, you know? And the fact that, you know, Samaj P. Ryan and all that. So I think there's guys who are now understanding we are a good team and not just a star-led team. And that's the biggest difference I see offensively. Defensively, I don't think they're going to get just stomped like they did in the first game. I feel like, because I think
what happened with that? Our
what it
defense
was,
is so good, and like
it was what was if the score, if I'm not mistaken, I believe the score was it 10-0 or 13-3 at halftime or something, and
something like that.
It was one of those things where they were doing everything they could to stay in the game, and usually the offenses like scored, and I think it got to a point where they scored when Cleveland scored again. Then the Bengals started pressing on offense, and at that point, Cleveland can kind of just do whatever they want at that point, and they just were playing with it because they knew we got these guys pressing on the other side, so their offense just could get into a groove running the ball and throwing the passes they were throwing out of it and the play actions. And I don't know. I think the biggest difference, like you said, it's going to be Deshaun Watson. I watched a little of their game last week against Houston, and the thing that you got to think about Deshaun Watson. Number one is he hadn't played in 2 years. He's not probably mentally as sound as he used to be after everything that's happened to him.
he didn't look good. He did not look good.
Playing against his former team, like the NFL must have known what they were doing when they said 11-game suspension. Hey, let's bring him back in week.
Don't get me started on that, Kyle.
They brought him back for the Houston game, and it's one of those things where I can tell you this much: when you go back to play a team, like when I came back with Jacksonville last year to play the Bengals, as much as I still respect and love people in Cincinnati, I wanted to beat the Bengals bad. I was just like, it's my former team. I wanted to beat them, and it's like anything else.
Comes out. I knew it.
I've never been more pissed than after that game. After the loss, never. I was like second worst I've ever been pissed. The Pittsburgh game pissed me off, but no, it's like one of those things where, like, I think once he settles down, here's the scary thing about Deshaun Watson is if he settles down and gets a groove with everybody, watch out, because it's going to be a different thing than you saw last week from Cleveland. And I think defensively they just got to settle in. And is it my time to make a prediction here?
No, keep going, man.
I was going to say Bengals are going to win. I would say it's like a 30-20 type of game. It's one of those games I don't think it's going to be in doubt. I think everybody's going to be Bengals will have it in hand fairly early, and they'll just. I'm not going to say they're going to cruise to victory. I think they'll. Cleveland's going to give them a shot at the end because they always do. I know the offensive coordinator there, Alex Van Pelt, used to be with the Bengals. He was the quarterback coach my last few years there with the Bengals, and he'll have Deshaun right. He'll have him ready, but like it's just Bengals got too much firepower.
Yeah. You think there's going to be that much scoring in this game with these defenses like that?
I think so, because I think Burrow's got those guys rolling, and he's I think he's one of those guys when he gets his mind made up, because right now I don't think he had any idea they were going to lose that game up in Cleveland. So it was like this time he's like, listen, boys, we're taking care of business today. And I think Cleveland's got enough on offense, especially their running game. If Deshaun Watson scrambles a few times, all that stuff, I think they'll score some points too. But again, I don't think it's going to be one of those things where. But I think Burrow's going to have a stick up his butt today about this game, and he's going to be ready to go. Yes,
Kayla makes a good point. Yeah.
I will say this about DJ Reader and Kayla on my Kayla, Bombshell Breakdown Kayla, made a point, not this week, but the week before, about DJ Reader knocking down some passes and how he doesn't get to the quarterback. But if you watch what's happening, DJ Reader's taking up he's taking up so much attention on the inside because he may not have stats. Here's what you got to remember. DJ Reader may not have stats, but DJ Reader's causing double teams on the inside, which open up the outside. So Hubbard and Hendrickson and those guys, the other kid that came on 58, what's his name?
Osai.
Osai. Yeah.
Yeah, that's something. He is 58, right? Because I always think he's Carl. When I look at him, I'm like, dang, Carl Lawson's back.
So used to Carl Lawson.
But no, so like, but those guys, he takes up so much space in the inside with the linemen that it forces one-on-ones. It's like that's why Aaron Donald is such a force for the Rams, is because everybody slides their line to him or double teams him or will run away from him or whatever the case is, and it causes issues elsewhere. So it's like pick your poison. Do you want to try to get your some help on the ends, or do you want to help on Reader? And right now people are saying we got to help on Reader because if we don't, he's going to be running through the A gap right at your quarterback.
Yeah. It's definitely not all about stats. It's he changes the game plan.
I don't know if y'all remember Gerald McCoy that played at Tampa. I don't know if y'all remember him. He was a big 3 technique, and he was this big, humongous like 3 technique, and he caused so much havoc with protections because you had to double him, and then all of a sudden you've got guys coming off the edge. Same thing with Geno Atkins when we had him. I mean, it's why you want a guy like that in there because you nobody can block him one-on-one. So.
Yeah.
Burrow was watching film on his day off, and a lot of players on the facility working out too. They're locked in. Well,
does that impress you?
No, not at all. He should be watching film on his day off.
Okay, coach. Damn.
There's no days off. What are you talking about? Day off.
All right, playoffs.
To be honest with you, though, like those player day offs, like the Tuesdays, those player day offs. Yes, we can't force them to be in there, but I'd be willing to bet you most NFL teams are in there, but they it depends on how the quarterback is using it. If does the quarterback bring his receivers in on Tuesdays and get a head start, does he go in with the linemen and get a head start on protections and stuff? So, to give the credit, I don't know who did the comment down there. I didn't see the name, but they to give credit to what he's saying, though, yes, that's good. I mean, because there are some teams that you don't necessarily see everybody in working out on Tuesdays, but these guys are locked in. I mean, they went to the Super Bowl last year. I mean, what's their record now? Are they 8-4?
8-4.
I mean, come on. I mean, I would have killed to be 8-4 my last few years in Cincy. So, so I'm just like, I'd kill that last 3 years, man. Shoot, Detroit and Jacksonville. I would love to have been 8-4. And I think that's why you do it. You do it to be in these situations. So why let it go to waste?
Right. Yeah. And I'm really excited about today. I'm excited to see. I think you said it best earlier. Like Burrow's got his mind made up.
Mm-hmm.
Is probably the best way to put it. There is something about his mental game that is just, it's not measurable. But it's almost like he can just will stuff to happen when he gets in that zone. And so I'm really hoping that's what shows up on the field today and finally breaks this Browns curse that we seem to be under right now. But Tyler,
you
go
don't
ahead.
have a score?
Do what?
Did you put a score out there?
Nope, I didn't. I want Tyler to go next.
I think we're pretty much all on the same page here. I think we come out pissed off today. There was a lot of things that went wrong in that Monday night game. We obviously couldn't get the offense going. We let Myles Garrett dictate the game early and then got put into a hole. And then Mixon only had 8 carries that game, so it kind of shows how much unbalanced we were. Like I said, I think we come out pissed off. I think Joe's tired of hearing about how he's never beat Cleveland, and I think we're going to see a laser-focused team today. And I've had a feeling about a double-digit victory all week, and it's only gotten stronger. And I know people are going to say I'm just biased on that, but that's just, I don't know. It's just my gut feeling. And it was right last week, so I'm going to roll with it again this week. I like a 10-point victory. I'm going to go 27-17 today.
Pretty close to that 30-20 game. Yeah. I do have one question real quick. Are you holding, is that Bates jersey? Are you hanging it up there because you're trying to like gain some money to help him pay his $50,000 fine he just got?
No, that's been up all season. I had to. We just moved into this house this year, so it's my one Bengals decoration in this room. So,
yeah, big Bates fan. Big Bates fan. I think
I don't know why I didn't think about this, but I got a Geo game worn jersey somewhere in this house. I should have put that up today.
Nice.
I could see. I just have a feeling that we hit 40 points this week.
Love that. I
I'm
would
not
love
even
that.
kidding. I'm not kidding. I think it is personal, and our goal, our aspiration is so huge. It's Super Bowl or bust for us right now. I think everybody on the team has a major chip on their shoulder. You've got an offensive line that is playing light years beyond what they were when we met with them before. Burrow's on a tear. Like Kyle said, we have the ability to spread the ball around in a way that we didn't before, because now these other wide receivers, Samaje, they all have live game reps with Joe that they didn't have before. I think there's a vendetta. And then you add to that on the defensive side of the ball, the defense got freaking embarrassed last time. They're not going to let that happen again. Lou's going to have them ready. DJ Reader is back, like you and Kayla mentioned. I also think that they're going to come out ready to prove a point. I think it's a statement game for the guys in the locker room. There's nobody in that locker room that's intimidated by the Browns. It's not our Super Bowl. It's not that vibe. It's just, I think, pissed. I think they're pissed. And I think they don't like the reputation that they've built with the Browns, that we lose to the Browns. So I think we hit 40 points today. I think our defense keeps the Browns closer to like 17. And I think some of those points come during garbage time, quite frankly. So I fully expect to see Trent Taylor doing a victory flip at the end of the game. So that's my prediction for today.
I want everybody to keep an eye on this, because I think this is something that might come about. Because what are the Browns? Are they 4-8? So they're flipped, right? So they're
5-7, I think.
5-7. So they're 5-7. So point being is this: like, if the Bengals do get up on them at some point, teams at this point in the year, if okay, this game's over, you might see that garbage time, like you said, too. I'm interested to see, here's what they've been doing lately. The Bengals have been, if you watch these in-breaking routes about 12 to 15 yards deep that they're running to their receivers and they're catching and running, keep an eye on some of those routes where, you as the broadcast goes, you won't be able to see it develop as much, but like you'll see Burrow turn, throw, and then, one of the guys is just kind of running in towards the middle of the field, catches and turns and runs.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, they've got a lot of success on that. And if they get that game going where they're throwing those little, I call them intermediate routes, those 15-yard routes, and let your guys just run. Because like that last play they threw to Higgins at the end of the game the other day, that was a 3-step route. That wasn't even that was a quick route. That was slant flat. I mean, he held the ball long enough. That's the reason he got hit. He held the ball long enough so that he could allow the slant to gain enough ground. So when he caught it, he got the first down. And it's amazing to me how they're using these easy, simple plays, like the play calling. Everybody gives Zach a hard time on play calling, but right now he's just calling a lot of easy type concepts and letting his dudes play. Because right now, if you got those guys that they got, screw the play call, man. Just get the ball to them and let them run. So
Yeah.
I think that's what they're doing right now. So I think that intermediate game might be big for them today if they can get the run game going, because a lot of those are based off of play action. So because you want the linebackers to step up and you drop it right over the top of the linebackers and let your dudes run. So
Yeah, I mean, the plays don't have to be complicated if your guys just have to win. The play, the reps. So like, I like that, and I think some of the times I feel like Zach has been most criticized is when he tries to be cute, and do something a little fancy or whatever.
And to talk about cute, everybody wants to say that jet sweep was cute with Carlos when Carlos made that play.
Yeah.
And you saw he changed the play. He
Yeah.
got up there and canned it, and they had sneak called. I don't know that for sure, but if I was a betting man, they had sneak called, and it was sneak can jet sweep. But they had everybody in those gaps. and you weren't going to sneak versus that defense. You can say, okay, we can probably, you hope to get push, but really, if you look at it, I mean, it's not, you're swimming upstream on that one. But and that's why they did it, because they had everybody inside. So let's run outside, and Carlos just made a hell of a play. But so I don't think that was a cute call. I think that was a pretty simple call too.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, Los is a good player. We all know that.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, he's still playing for a reason, and he's still playing for a contender for a reason.
Yeah, that's true. So, Tyler, did you have any other games for us that you wanted us to pick real quick?
Yeah. First off, my apologies for not texting that out. I literally just looked at these this morning. So, obviously we stick with our division games. So we got Ravens at Steelers as well. Actually, let's just run through these. So, because I've obviously had a little bit more time to think about them. But I got Ravens at Steelers, Jets at Bills, Vikings at Lions, and Dolphins at Chargers on my little sheet today.
Okay.
So let's start with Ravens at Steelers.
Okay. What you got?
So obviously we saw the news last week that Lamar Jackson is going to be out this week with the PCL injury. It sounds like he's at least going to miss 2 games. And I've been on this soapbox for the last 2 weeks now that the Ravens are going to lose 2 of the 3 matchups between the Browns and the Steelers coming up. Obviously, that injury helps the Steelers' odds here a little bit. I'm sticking with it. I think the Steelers take this one today. TJ Watt is getting a little bit better, or coming back from his injury, getting a little bit better every week. I still somewhat like, I hate to say it like that, I still somewhat like the Pickett to Pickens connection. So yeah, I'm sticking with the Steelers.
Wow. What about you, Kyle? Who's winning this one?
If Lamar Jackson was playing, I'd 100% say Ravens, but I agree. I think the Steelers are playing a lot better. The Steelers actually look like they're starting to become the Steelers again. I think when you saw them early in the season, I know the first game was that was a preseason game that the Bengals lost to them, but
Thank you.
If you watch them lately, they're getting better. Their defense is starting to play like the Steelers, like you think the Steelers defense should play. So I'm with you. I think the Steelers probably win this one today. I'm not going to give any points on this one because I don't think it's going to be a very high scoring game. I think it's going to be a low scoring game.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think it's going to be a really low scoring game. It's going to be a defensive matchup with 2 like not super high powered offenses. So give me a low scoring game, and I'm also going to take the Steelers.
Is this a first on any kind of Bengals podcast or whatever that the Steelers have actually been picked across the board?
It
Probably. It's also sacrilegious. And when I post this episode, I'm going to delete this part.
Should we start playing Renegade right now?
Kyle?
No, sorry.
I'm gonna respectfully ask you to stop. All right, so go Steelers, whatever. Jets at Bills.
My mantra on that is, or maybe not my mantra, but my thought process is I'm not rooting for the Steelers to win. I'm just rooting for the other team to lose.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel you on that.
We'll go with that.
It's tomato, but that's how I sleep. That's how I sleep at night.
I mean, it would benefit our team if the Ravens lost today. So yeah, I mean, it hurts the hearts of every Bengals fan, but we're all kind of cheering for the Steelers today, for sure. All right. So next game, Jets, Bills. Kyle, why don't you start with this?
All right. So 7-5 Jets, 9-3 Bills. I mean, the Bills are going to win this game. They're in Buffalo. The Bills have played horribly the past few games. I think they barely beat Detroit, and then they lost to somebody last week. I can't remember who they lost to, but I think they come out. They're 10-point favorites at home. I mean, all these people who travel back in time and put these money lines up, there's no way they know all this stuff. Some time travel is real, by the way. There's no way. I'm just telling you, too good. So, So I think the Bills. I think the Bills are going to win this one fairly easily. I think the Jets are kind of running out of steam right now.
Yeah. What do you think, Tyler?
I a couple weeks ago, if you would have asked me, I would have called this a really good game, and I probably would have picked the Jets. But the Jets have just like fallen apart here recently, and now they're starting Mike White. And the last time Mike White faced the Jets, I think he had over 300 yards passing on like over probably about 58 attempts. But he also had 4 interceptions in that game. And I don't know. There's no way in hell I'm taking the Jets in this game. I think Bills take this one pretty easily.
Yeah. I'm going to keep this really simple. Give me the Bills, and it's not even close. I mean, I think the Jets put up a fight, but I think they're outmatched, period. So, all right. Who we got next, Tyler?
We had Vikings at Lions, which the Lions are actually favored in this one. I was a little
Now,
surprised by that.
this is an interesting matchup to me.
Yeah, I'll say this. I've coached in that series for 2 years, and it's weird. Like we would play when we were bad, we played the Vikings really well. But early in the year, if we were still kind of playing well early in the year, those 2 years I was there, we didn't play the Vikings well at all. So like, it's very odd when I say that. So, and the reason I'm saying that is, and this is where I think somebody's traveling back in time, because why are the Lions favored right now? Like, I get it, they're playing better, but like the Vikings are 10-2. Like,
I know.
And they can clinch the NFC North today.
I just think I think the Vikings will win this game, but it's going to be one of those. It's going to be a hard fought. We got the Lions right now are playing. They're playing tough. They're playing pretty sound football, and offensively, Ben Johnson was on staff with us there when I was there, the offensive coordinator. I know Ben really well, and he's got those guys clicking on offense, and he's doing things, like I said, that is simple, that gets the ball in their hands of the players. And I don't know. I think it's going to be a harder game for the Vikings to win than they think. But I think I'm taking the Vikings.
Okay. Tyler, what's up?
Yeah. So first off, I'm really happy that the Lions are kind of getting things turned around. I like what Dan Campbell's doing up there. I really love that team. I love what's his name, Jamal Williams, the running back up there. I think he's a great dude. Lions played the Vikings tough. I can't remember what week it was, probably about a month and a half ago. Lost 28-24. I just can't pick. I just can't pick against the Vikings this week, especially with that division crown just like right there at their fingertips. I like the Vikings in this one.
You know what? I'm going against you guys on this one. I'm going Lions today. I think they're going to shock. I think they're on a shock everybody tour right now. Is what I think. They could put up points like nobody's business. I think they have a little bit of a redemption game after losing the last matchup narrowly. So I don't know. It's a feeling. It's not based in a huge amount of logic. And the Vikings are really good. Obviously, they're great, but they also they're not perfect. They definitely have stumbled here and there, and so I think they do again today. I think the Lions put them back on their heels a little bit, and they have trouble digging themselves out of it. So give me the Lions today, and a very exciting game. I'm actually looking forward to watching this one. I think it could be good.
I'm gonna send that clip up to the Pride of Detroit.
Okay.
Let them post that out there that you got Bengals.
Go Lions! Go Lions! Us Jungle Cats got to stick together, dude. Unless we play each other, then it's.
It's crazy. I've coached for 3 NFL teams, and they've all been big cats.
Oh yeah.
The Lions and the Jaguars.
You gotta get the Panthers crossed off there.
Carolina at some point now, and I'll have them all.
Right. You got to.
Speaking of the cats of the NFL, Stefanski is. I just saw this stat the other day. Kevin Stefanski is undefeated against cat named teams. He's 10-0.
Really?
So
random stat, but I just thought of that.
It ends now. All right, who's our next game, Tyler?
The final one is Dolphins at Chargers on Sunday night.
Okay.
Dolphins. I got no reason for it. Dolphins.
Keep it simple. Yeah, I'm going to stick with you on this one, Kyle. The Dolphins' offense is I'm just a huge fan of their offense right now. And the Chargers, as much money as they put in that defense this year, is just it just seems like they should be doing so much better than what they have, and it's just not showing up. And
Yeah, no doubt.
yeah, they're just kind of a weird team right now for me. So yeah, I'm taking Dolphins in this one as well.
Yeah, I mean, look at the different like momentum. If you just look at the QB position alone and that part of the offense, like the momentum couldn't be more different. Like Herbert has all the tools, uh, super gifted, super talented, but like the momentum is off. And then you've got Tua out there just living his best life right now. He is jazzed and he is on fire. I think Dolphins today too. I just don't trust the Chargers. Like it's one of those unrealized potential rosters right now.
You kind of forget Khalil Mack plays for him.
You do.
That guy,
Who?
trust me, when I coached against him when he was in Chicago,
Mhm.
we didn't forget about him. Trust me, we knew he was there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean they've just got so much talent, but like, you know how there's just those teams sometimes that like they just
They don't mesh.
they don't mesh or something. Yeah, it's like they
Yeah.
figure out more ways to lose than you know that there was available. So I don't know. And I think they're one of those teams. So Dolphins are exciting right now,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately. All right. Um, so before we let you go, Kyle, we kept you way longer than I meant to.
No,
I'm
you're
so
good.
sorry.
I
So
think,
sorry.
I think everything is still. I don't think the house is burned down yet out there. Well, I'll find out when I walk out. So,
Cool. Well,
if there's
let
no
every
if there's no bombshell breakdown this week, that's what happened. Okay.
Oh, okay. We've been warned. So tell us before you leave us where everybody can find you and what you got going on right now, Kyle.
So my big thing I got going on right now is Caskey's Clicker. You can see it down here at the bottom. It's on YouTube. Most of it that you're going to see is LSU based because I'm in Baton Rouge and the show is the Jordy Carlotta show here in town. And most of it is based around that. I have put some Bengals content out there for previous games. My plan is for this week, since there is no LSU game to look at or look forward to at this point until the bowl game, I'm going to start looking at, like, I pulled up some stuff with Burrow and how he's progressed since he hadn't had Chase. So I looked at the games when Chase was out and some of the things he was doing with the other players and trying to figure out a good way to put a show together based around that. And then, I'm going to start looking at some, maybe some Eagles stuff because everybody's asking about the Eagles. Why are they so good? And honestly, I haven't really looked at the Eagles. So I think that'll be interesting just to see what they're doing because apparently they're doing something right. Maybe there's something to it. And then on Twitter at Coach Kyle Caskey. So I haven't had a whole lot of stuff on Twitter just recently because I've been doing mostly the YouTube stuff with Caskey's Clicker. Trying my hardest to get back into coaching. So if that's the case, then Caskey's Clicker will probably go to the side for a little while if that's the case. So enjoy it while it's still here. And I'd say this, we have a foundation, it's Caskey Family Foundation. It's CaskeyFamilyFoundation.org. And we don't have like right now an initiative right now, but we have been, our normal initiatives are based around schools and funding schools or funding children within schools, trying to get them the technology they need. Especially back in the pandemic, we supplied a school in Detroit with 42 Microsoft Surfaces because they had nothing. These kids were trying to do remote learning over the phone. I'm not talking about FaceTime. I'm talking about over the phone, like voice talk to try to learn math. And I don't know how you do that. So we were trying to get the technology into schools. We've done clothes. We put together a little clothes drive for some people up in Detroit because obviously it's really, really cold. And then we did a thing this fall where we helped. We had people nominate teachers that were really great teachers that could use help supplying their classroom for the year, and then gave them Amazon cards for their classroom to go supply their classroom. So that's kind of where we're at. My parents were teachers. My dad was a coach. I mean, so that's in our hearts to help them out. Now that we got kids, you realize more after you have kids, like how much the effect has of, if you don't have something like technology, especially last few years, like
Right.
we can do this, you know what I mean? Like this was not 5 years ago, this wasn't a thing, and now it is. So, but yeah, we got, Caskey's Clicker, and then it's a CaskeyFamilyFoundation.org if you guys want to, we're always taking donations, and when we get a chance, we send it back out into the communities. And some of the just so y'all know, some of the teachers that did get nominated and got help funded their classroom were in the greater Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky area. So
Cool.
it wasn't just here; it was up there too.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, thanks for spending the morning with us. Everybody should follow Coach on Twitter so that you can kind of keep posted on what's going on. I love your show. I can't wait for the Burrow episode. Make it happen,
Make it
Kyle.
happen. Make it happen.
I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, just thanks for spending the morning with us. A lot of great stories, and it was good talking to you.
Well, y'all don't get too worked up, if the Browns come out on fire, because I'm just telling you, ain't gonna last long. So
Yes.
and then I'll say it just so everybody hears it. If it's brown, flush it down.
Yes.
Yes.
That's a perfect way to end things today, Kyle. All right, man.
Good
Have
day
a
to
good day.
y'all. See y'all later.
Good
Who
day.
day?
Bye. I love it. That's the energy I need today. If it's brown, flush it down. Are you ready for the game today,
I'm
Tyler?
so freaking ready. I've been ready all week. I'm ready to get this bad taste out of my mouth from these last what they're on a 5-game winning streak, I believe.
Is it
Um,
5?
I think so. I know it's like 8 of the last 9, but I've been clinging to 51-47, which is the series record. So uh, yeah, let's just end this shit today. I'm so tired of hearing from half of their fan base. So
Mm-hmm.
let's just win.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to shut them up so bad. I want Hendrickson to be intimately familiar with Deshaun all day. Like oh, and I don't know if you guys all in the chat are privy to this, or like if you've noticed on Twitter, but for those of you on Twitter, you saw Hube Jess tweet this out among a lot of other people that there is a bit of a movement where I will be donating, along with a lot of other people, $10 for every sack on Deshaun Watson today to a charity of your choice. I'm going, what's the name of the charity that me and Jess are doing that
Oh, it
just
was
slipped my
the
mind?
um
Someone help me out in the chat. Why? It was literally, I just was about to say it, and then it
is
just
it like
left my head.
is it like HMW or something like that? Is that like the right?
Hold on, I'm not
Oh,
gonna
want
I'm
to make
not
sure
gonna
we get
mess
this
this
right.
up. Yeah. 1 second, guys. I'm gonna look this up. But I do what I'm really, really, really hoping for
Women helping
today.
women.
When
Kayla just threw it in the chat.
Thank you. Thanks, Kayla. I don't know what brain moment I just had. But
It's early.
yeah. I mean, I guess. But yeah, we're doing $10 per sack today on
$20
Deshaun
for
Watson.
Oh,
Do what?
I'm sorry. I don't want to speak out of line, but I thought it was $20 for interception as well.
Oh, it is?
I thought that. Yeah, Jess. I know Jess is at least doing that.
Cool.
Sorry. I don't mean to sign you up for something. That. Yeah.
I'm all for it. I'm all
Okay.
for it.
There was $20 or something in there.
Okay. I mean, I'm all for it, and I hope that we rack it up today. Like make my checking account hurt a little bit today. I'm fine with that. It's going to a really, really great cause. That organization is awesome, guys. The work that they do is really just incredible. So choose whatever charity you want. I can vouch for this one though, for sure, that it's a fantastic one, and I think it's on brand for the point that we want to make today. But yeah, I'm just really hoping our defense really gives him hell this afternoon, and I hope our offense balls out. I think they will, don't you? Like, I just have a
I
feeling.
think so. Yeah. I mean, I've had this feeling all week. I felt really confident about this game. We really did come out firing. on that Monday night game. But we just let Miles Garrett dictate that game, and then the wheels just fell off so quickly. We got pressed, and then we got out of our game plan. So I that's the number one thing I'm watching for today is how do we contain Miles Garrett, and if we can take him out of the game plan, it's gonna be a fun afternoon of football, I think. So.
Yeah.
And Deshaun's historically bad in cold weather games, so that helps too with the situation. So
yeah. What's the weather today in Cincinnati, y'all? Help me out.
it was. I just took our dog on a walk. It was a bit brisk out there, so it's going to be on the cold side. I think it's going to at least be 40s. I'm not even going to try to pull up weather.com on this stupid computer.
Yeah. That's good football weather. But anyway, I have a feeling that our offense is coming to make a point. I think it was Ted Karras in one of his locker room interviews this week that mentioned Miles Garrett. And he made it very clear that the entire team is focused on that, like on neutralizing that threat. What a good player. Like, I hate that he's on the Browns, because if he was on any other team, I think I would kind of root for him, but I just can't. Kayla says it's warmish, nearly 50 today. Perfect, and partly sunny. That's perfect football weather. I like it. What's up, Meg? I want to do something small for that little deaf girl at St. Rita Deaf School. She was thrown to the floor by a staff teacher. Meg, I did not get a chance to see that. I saw that you tagged me in that yesterday, but I wasn't on Twitter like at all, except to do things that I absolutely had to do, like for today's show. But other than that, I didn't see anything. But I did see that you tagged me, and I'm going to go back and watch it today. I think that's a great idea to support her too. Lisa, if you go on Meg's Twitter, she posted all about it. You and I'll get caught up later before the game, see what happened. I know it was awful. But speaking of Meg, do you want to see what we are going to learn this week in terms of science? All right,
sorry,
let's do it.
I just saw Ollie down here.
Hi, Kat. What's up? All right, let's everybody, let's check out Meg and learn something together today. Rivals is putting it mildly, Meg. I'm gonna need some other words for them. Is it Browns? I'm gonna need another word for them beyond rivals.
We need to figure out flush it down.
I know. I know. Meg, whenever the captions come up on this and you can see what we're saying, I need you to teach us how to say if it's brown, flush it down. That's what we need. All right. Cool. I need to go back. I was getting really good at retaining all of the signs that she showed us so far, but I want to go
Mhm.
back and just watch those segments and like have like a refresh because I feel like we've learned a lot.
Oh yeah,
And I want to make sure like I'm not forgetting any of them. So we'll do like a wrap video at the end of the season with all of the signs, but make sure you're
there we
practicing.
go.
Yeah. Um, we got a drink today too,
All right.
and I'm
Let's see
ready for a drink.
let's see what Matt has for us here.
Okay.
Welcome back to Game Day Cocktails. I'm your host, Matt, aka Bengals and Bourbon, and it's week 14. We are sitting at a nice 8-4, and we're going into this week at home again playing the Cleveland Browns. You would think this is going to be an easy win based on how we're playing and how they're playing, but for some reason we just can't beat the Browns. And I thought, what would be a better drink to make for this week? Is something easy, Something easy, get back on track, what we like to call a slump buster, as we would say, since Burrows doesn't seem to beat the Browns at all. So for this one, we're just going to do a simple drink, a whiskey and Coke. But we're just going to call it a slump buster so we can get out of this slump, beat the Browns, go to 9-4, and be well on our way to the division title. So I had about an ounce and a half left in this bottle, so we're just going to finish it off. And then a little Coke. Hopefully it doesn't explode on me like the last one did. There we go. Let's fill it up a little bit. All right, we'll give it a try. That slump buster tastes like winning. Hooday.
He said it with some more emphasis this week.
I think so.
I like it.
I'm not going to be having a bunch of Jack and Cokes today. I can assure you that. But for anybody that wants to, like, go for it. Let me know how that works out. Oh shoot! What else you got, Tyler? Before I'm ready to start putting some snacks together, and the game can't come soon enough.
Yeah, well, I think we have to do at least a small plug here for our good friends at Betfred Sports.
Yes.
Obviously, our contest winner, Greg Luther, he texted me this week. I believe he said he's taking Cincy James with him. So those
Aw.
two will be up in the Betfred Sports Suite this week. So you guys enjoy the game. A great view, free food and drink up there. There's going to be some awesome people up there as well. Obviously, one hell of an experience to have for any sporting event. So, congratulations to those guys. Thank you very much to Betfred Sports for giving us this opportunity to hook up, some fellow Bengals fans with that experience. Also, hey, legal sports gambling is going live here in less than a month. Still plenty of time to get in pre-registered. You get a free $20 bet when Betfred Sports goes live here in Ohio. All you have to do is scan this QR code right here. All they're asking for right now is your name, your email address, and your social media or your Twitter handle, that's optional. Takes 30 seconds to do. Like I said, gets you a free $20 bet.
I think they're running I know they're running giveaways regularly, but I think they have an extra special one going on right now. Like, so now's a great time to just like scan that QR code, or we can shoot out a link on Twitter also. But like
Absolutely.
Tyler says, takes just a few seconds. They're not asking for any real personal information, and you're signed up.
And it gets you in on weekly Bengals giveaways, which includes, a chance to win those sweet tickets for, we got 2 more home games yet between the Bills and the Ravens. Going to be electric atmospheres. And I tell you what, I know I bring this up about every show, and I'm sorry about that, but there is something about hearing the roar of a stadium from that suite. Like, there's one thing being in the bowl and having the sound just collapse on you, but being in that suite, you actually get a feel for how loud Bengals fans really are at Paycor Stadium, and it's something. So, yeah, get in on that. They're like I said, they're doing plenty of giveaways. You're going to see a bunch of different sports books offering different things, different money. But why not get on the ground floor with the official sports book of the Cincinnati Bengals, before they kick off live? So, yeah, small plug for Betfred Sports there.
Yeah. And the guys are great. Tyler
Phenomenal.
and I have had an opportunity to really work with those guys, and they are phenomenal. So like it's very easy to partner with them because they're really cool. And so yeah, go ahead and get signed up so that you can possibly win some game tickets or some other cool stuff and some other experiences. And then also, I mean, who wants to leave a free $20 bet on the table if you don't have to? That's crazy. Like go ahead and get it. So anyways, and yes, Lisa, sweets are sweet. I have not had that experience yet, but it's not like I'm salty about it. Whatever.
Hey,
Tyler
they
has.
offered you a game. They
I
offered you a
know.
game.
I know. It's my fault.
Someone wouldn't just book the flight.
I know. All right. On that note, I'm going to go prep for a big rematch. Battle of Ohio. It's on
One
today,
more thing.
guys.
Today,
Yeah.
we officially turn Ohio into Joe Burrow.
Yes. I love that shirt. Let me see it again. I love it. Hell yeah. Happy birthday. Birthday boy's going to
Hell
ball
yeah.
out today.
That was another factor we didn't talk about this morning. So,
yeah.
God, let's just win this game.
40 points. Put me down,
I
guys.
would
I said
love
it
it.
earlier.
I would love it.
I think birthday boy's going to do it. He's at least got to get 26 points, right? Since it's his 26th birthday.
They have to.
Bear men. Hi, Meg. Hooday. Let's go. Let's get it.
One more thing before we go. We're not very good about this, but everybody that joined us here this morning, Kayla, Meg, Haas, Kelsey, Lisa, Stranger, who else? I know we're missing some people in here. Kyle, Kane, anybody else? Real quick. Thank you guys for joining us here this morning. Always makes this show so much more fun when we have comments rolling in, and it makes it a lot more fun. So thank you guys for joining us. Everybody else that watched this morning that may have not commented, watched it on Twitter, wherever you watched it from, thank you again for joining us this morning. We love doing this. We love sharing game day mornings with you guys. So as always, love.
Yeah. Hooday, guys. Thank you so much.